you should be expanding into additional channels. So in some ways, you're stopping selling on Amazon, you're moving. But the last part of that is actually a little bit of a play on words, because honestly, these businesses are worth more in the end than at any time during the business building phase. What that means is these businesses, when exited for multiples, can create life-changing events.
Welcome, everyone. This is Seth Green, and today I've got a very interesting interview coming up. We'll be interviewing today Neil Twa from Voltage Digital Marketing. They claim to create 7, 8, and possibly 9-figure brands on Amazon and help them exit. They claim to have a built-in supply chain of buyers ready to invest in those brands when they are ready to exit. And they claim they can take someone who's never even sold a thing on Amazon before, literally starting from zero to hero. We're going to dive right in and see what if all of this is true. Neil, thank you so much for joining us for the hot seat today.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Our pleasure. So let's go back in time just a little bit. How did you get started on this Amazon e-commerce journey?
Okay, so not to bore anybody with a long story and things my mom might find interesting. Short story. All right. So got out of the corporate world in 2007, thought I could become a business builder, and very quickly realized I needed help. Being in a corporate world, very different than being an entrepreneur. So I went and sought a mentor, and the mentor basically helped me understand the gap between being corporate brain and being actual business owner who is a entrepreneur to start, and then moving into a business owner framework, which is very different if you understand the two. Long story short, I needed more clients for my management consulting firm. I needed to expand myself out and learn how to duplicate my efforts into becoming a real business owner. And through that process, learned lead generation, online marketing. I was doing it with mobile phones and uploaded spreadsheets before even web interfaces were there. And we were doing dating offers in different countries. And one of the best ones that ended up in South Africa was a dating offer, started making me $1,000 a day. And in 2008, that was pretty cool. So by 2009 and 10, I was building that lead generation surface for other companies, almost like affiliate marketing, if you will. And I realized they had brands and products I was supporting. And I just kind of realized if I could own the front end of the offer, why didn't I own the products on the back end? So I started looking at it from a business and a product and physical product space, which just long story led me to Amazon because I was doing lead gen. It was an SEO thing. It was coming up fast. They just bought a logistics company. They rebranded as what's called FBA, or Fulfilled by Amazon. And they started using that to move products, even more products than just books to the customers, last mile, anything to all people in 30 seconds or less, right? Jeff Bezos. So the end of the story here, we basically spent the last 10 years building those brands, got started on Amazon, started to use it as an SEO search engine optimized for products instead of just information, which is really cool, pretty unique. And if you paid any attention in the last 10 years, Amazon has blown up. If you paid attention to their stock, hopefully you got in on that early. If you've seen anything on the Amazon side of the house, that now at 28% market share, it's a juggernaut. It's one of the largest in the country. In fact, Walmart wants to be Amazon, and TikTok wants to be Amazon, and Amazon wants to crush all of them. And so we had built multiple brands and helped multiple students over that time frame. Once people saw what we were doing, they asked us to help them. So I've kept it pretty small. Never went into the major courses and program kind of crap. Stayed more on the consulting side because that's where I cut my teeth. And that's where I spent most of my life, was on the management consulting side. So I stayed in that business building mode. Still continue brands. One of them, we sold almost 500,000 in units in just one product line and one brand. In the last 10 years, we've gone on to do 8 of those different brands, sold some of them. And this year we're in acquisition mode. This year we're going to set out to acquire 5 companies that are going to be anywhere between 5 and 10 million in revenues.
Well, that is quite a backstory. And it sounds like you've done the secrets to building an 8-figure Amazon brand. But let's talk about the folks who are listening to this now. Who is this for? Because you claim to say you could take someone who's never sold anything on Amazon before and make them successful. Is that really true? Is that who this is for?
Yeah, it really gets down to tenacity, grit, and perseverance. If you don't have an expertise in entrepreneurialism and business online, that is one of the things we do is help train. It's why I can't do it for everybody, and I can't really help everybody because I believe in doing one-on-one support, and our team does the one-on-one support to help people get through the process of learning how to do it, how to become an entrepreneur, start up your first business, and actually have success in the marketplace. It's important to me, so I kind of make it small and we make it very tight. People like Adam, who just literally launched his brand in the last 30 days, getting over 13,000 in sales. Brand new guy, works 40 hours a week. He's a pharmacist. He's got 2 kids he's juggling and sports and activities, and he pulled it off. Why? Because I give him the credit. He actually executed. He did the steps. He led with the playbook. He went and did it. And as we say out here in the country, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. All right. At the end of the day, he drank the water, drank the Kool-Aid. If you And he did the work, and kudos to him, because in the same time, I've had other people who've been given the same opportunity and didn't drink the water. So not everybody is of the right aptitude to do this. It's very important we understand that. Could just about anybody do it? Yeah, like Alex did it. Alex is a stay-at-home mom, and she was running around with a toddler the other day and then posted her results in our group for her new market test that went off. Her market test of a few hundred units actually went profitable, which doesn't always happen when you do a market test. And because of that, she's getting 1,000 units and she's going to start scaling that. But she's a stay-at-home mom and she runs around tracking down a toddler. So at the end of the day, what are those two people doing? And I could keep going with those people. But at the end of the day, what were those two doing? They were doing something other people were not willing to do. And quite frankly, except the bar's pretty low today for people who want to take action on things. You could literally step over the bar now. It's laying on the ground. And so if you take some imperfect action and follow a process, some little perfect things are going to happen along the way. You just have to be willing to step over the bar, take responsibility and say, I want to do this no matter what. And then those are the people who ultimately I want to work with because they want to be successful and they want us to help them. They're going to come after us too, not just make us come after them. So it really gets down to that kind of winning attitude. Could I make somebody who's reluctant do this, skeptical do this? Probably not. They're going to convince themselves out of it. They may be in a limiting belief system. They may be stuck in a scarcity mindset. They may not be thinking in the opportunities and abundance that are still very much in front of them. And I can't convince you otherwise. You need to make sure that you want to do this kind of model above any other kind of model. And then I can take those people, my team can take those people and shift them into great business builders with physical products.
No, you mentioned a couple of those folks who literally just did this. So with all of the Amazon growth and everything going on, is it a good idea to start an e-commerce business this year?
So let me tell you what the variables of their success look like. Because if you're going to launch a product that's $30 or less on Amazon right now, don't even try. If you think you can pull off a Me Too product without any sort of innovations, don't even try. If you think that products and logistics and that kind of stuff sound overwhelming to you, then this may not be the best business model for you. Can you do it? I've taught 19-year-old high school dropouts how to do it. I mean, he's a multi-seven-figure earner now. I've taught 76-year-old grandmas how to do it. Here's the variables that they used, okay, the little bit of mechanical variables that made the success. You have to go by the numbers, all right? You can't sell that $30 or less product anymore. We sell in the $50 to $150 retail range, maybe even a little bit higher. Adam's product is around $150 and Alex's product is around $170, just to give you some insights. Why is that important? Because revenues is just vanity. Profit is sanity and cash flow is king. You cannot move a product and sell $50 anymore on Amazon and have the kind of cash flow and profitability that allows for growth and from growth to go to scalability. It's very important we understand this. So if we have enough to pay ourselves, we have enough profit in the business, we got more than $12 in profit per unit in that product, you're now setting yourself up to pay for marketing, acquire more customers. You don't have a business if you can't acquire more customers. You're setting yourself to pay yourself money, which is obviously very important. No one wants to just do this business and not get paid anything. And the third thing is you can now hire and acquire resources that can help you turn this into almost automated income with FBA and beyond, which means you don't have to work 40 hours a week in this business model. You can work 15 to 20 and do it at a 7 and 8 figure line of business when you set up the right processes and systems. So if we understand that again, 150 to 150 in retail price point is the only way to sell now. More than $12 in net profit, preferably 24, 36 or more. That's net profit, which you actually keep. Amazon sends you that net profit every 2 weeks. That's pretty cool. And a marketable place that you can actually go and find the customers, which is why we chose Amazon FBA first, because there's 150 million buyers. We're moving 7,800 products a minute, and there are a lot of products to sell. So don't let your limiting beliefs go. There's literally what the heck do I sell? There are millions of product opportunities to conditionally train your brain to examine it. And a lot of them people are probably setting in your house right now. We talk about daily profits in the products that are literally setting around your house or things you've already ordered on Amazon. So if you take a look at that criteria, that's going to be some of the baselines you want to consider on what the heck to sell and making sure that you go by the numbers to do it correctly.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, you asked the question multiple times. I'd love an answer. What the heck do I sell? How do I figure out to sell on Amazon that's $170 and has a 24% margin?
Let's go and reverse that question real quick and say, what the heck do I not sell? And then everything else you can sell. So the goal here is to understand, people should understand we're not actually selling product. We're selling listings to an AI engine, and the AI engine moves and sells logistics of products to the last mile to the customer through Amazon. So Amazon actually sells the products. We sell the listings. The listings are the intent and behind the product purchase, the problem, reaction, and solution that product is going to solve in the life of someone who is looking to solve it, who's already had a conversation somewhere else, who's already made a determination they want to buy something. And so they went into Amazon to buy it. It's frictionless buying. It's 30 seconds to add to cart. It shows up in 2 days or less. You don't like it, you know how to deal with it. You return it or write a bad review. So that's a pretty standard known these days, okay? So in What the Heck Do I Sell? Don't start off brand new by selling electronics. Now you can sell electrical things, but not electronic things because the cost capitalization to start off and the long-term cash on cash value may be good, but it's going to be very costly to get going. You've got manufacturing defects. You've got customer support issues. You create complexities in the model. We want more simplicity because the equation we follow is familiarity and similarity equal trust. And that's the whole mechanism that Amazon has established, which is why we leverage it. So we just follow them. We don't want to sell clothing that's too low priced, below the $30, right? We don't want to sell supplements or anything that goes in the mouth or on the skin. That's too complicated. Too many other 3-letter agencies get up in your business. And that is more complicated than you might think to get off the ground. So is everything else possible to sell? Yes, with the asterisk that it goes by the numbers. So our Greenlight process I just told you, for us, it has to be more than $12 in net profit per unit. All right. So it's very important we understand that while we can sell anything else but the ones I just mentioned, we have to make sure that it's profitable.
I have a number of questions. Before I get to the next one, for our folks who want to learn more about this process that you have, where is the best place for them to go? What should they do to take that first step? And then we'll dive into some more questions.
Yeah, simple thing, go to voltagedm.com. That's voltagedm or digitalmarketing.com. There is a get started link there, and you click that. There's a training that will go through the 4 steps to 10x this business model, from profit to growth and growth to scale, and then scale to exit, what we call our platinum principle. They'll go through those steps. It's a free training. Check it out. It's actually a bit of a workshop. So when you do watch it, you'll be taking some notes and learning some actionable items you can take away from you right after watching it.
Awesome. Okay. What you mentioned, profits obviously being key. We talked about how to eliminate the things we don't want to sell, to start narrowing down the universe of what we do want to sell. How do we make it profitable?
So we ensure that the cost of goods, which is the product itself, that the retail price point matches with the price point I mentioned, 50 to 150 or more, and that we understand our logistical cost of operating on a platform like this. Amazon itself has fees to be on that platform. There are referral fees and storage fees and marketing fees and other fees that have to plug into that. If you don't understand all of those fees, you might be operating on the wrong numbers. You might think that gross margin is what you should focus on, when you should actually focus on net profit. And I hear this from the gurus of the interwebs a lot. It's like, well, this has 80% gross margin. Okay, that doesn't mean a whole lot to me. How much am I actually keeping? When someone comes to me like they did here recently and it's like, hey, I got a $3 million business and it sounds really great. I'm like, very cool. How much did you actually take home? That's all that really matters. Well, about 2.9 million. Okay, so you had a $3 million in revenue and took down $100,000 in gross profit. What was your post taxes? What was your actual net profit? And he's like, well, about 30,000. Not sexy, right? That is not sexy. So what we want is obviously high profitability, which means the business overall needs to be between 18 to 25% in net profit. If that's not a word you understand, Google is your friend, right? Net profit is what actually falls out the bottom. It's what we actually keep. It's all that really matters. So to get to that, each product has to stack up on a net profit that begets a profit and loss statement that becomes profitable overall. So every product we sell has to match that. If you have, in the what the heck do I sell and kind of where your question was headed, if you have certain things you're interested in, if you like biking, if you're an outdoor guy, if you like to run, if you are big into creatives and crafts, if you're big into anything you're kind of interested in, there's a product you can sell to that audience. And it kind of helps to marry those two things, to marry something you're interested in and something that is clearly profitable. But there are lots of products, okay, in there. So we want to make sure people understand that literally, though, there are a billion products in Amazon, but make no mistake, my criteria eliminates 96% of them. So you may accidentally choose one of the wrong products if you're not following this criteria. About 4% of those products, and by the way, that's still tens of millions if you do the math, are of product opportunities that meet this criteria that I'm going after right now. Okay.
So then how do I choose what niche I want to sell products in?
Yep. So I would say there are about 6 niches on Amazon. They're located in this big filing system that Amazon is, right? It's just a big filing system of data. There are 6 of them. Home and kitchen and outdoor gears are going to be in that space. There are, I have to remember the other 3 off the top of my head, but there are millions of products within that space. that match up with it. And it literally could be, and is most likely, something you have already purchased in the last 90 days of Amazon. So if you got one of these little devices sitting on your desk right now, it's called an iPhone. And I'll do some conflict marketing for us right now. All iPhone people are fanboys and all Android people suck, right? So if you get an iPhone and you're cool, no, pull up your Amazon app, look at the last 90 days of history. By Amazon's own admission, 60% of the products that are sold through the .com come from third-party sellers like us. All right, that means that most of the products that you purchased in the last 90 days are something that someone like us sold. It's a great place to start to look at which category and niche of home or outdoor or patio or sporting outdoor goods or whatever is going to match up with that profitability. At the end of the day, I will sell fuzzy bunny slippers to grandma if it's profitable because she's super happy and wants to scoot all around and tell everybody how much she loves her fuzzy bunny slippers. That makes me super happy. Do I need to be passionate about fuzzy bunny slippers? No. Do I need to know how the passionate people want that product as part of that solution? Absolutely. That's just good business.
Let's say I followed these steps so far. I picked out a niche. I picked out a product that's profitable. It sells for the right price. How do I get the right people to see my product? How do I get them to find it on Amazon?
Yeah, so it's important to understand that this engine, all right, right now is keyword based, but this is about to change with a new published scientific paper that literally just came out last month. We've known this is coming along the lines. Amazon's changing and is being adapted by AI. All the systems are. It's called Cosmo. It's going to kind of change up some of the things I'm telling you right now, but it has not been determined when it's going to roll out. They're still testing. So for right now, this is very relevant and will kind of change. So let me give you that little bit of caveat as we learn more about what's happening. But the whole system is keyword based. All right. It means if you enter a keyword, I want a 12-bottle wine rack, it is going to serve you up listings that match up with a 12-bottle wine rack. So your goal is to create what we call hyper relevancy. If I'm going to go launch a brand in the, say, wine niche, and I'm going to look at the different products in there that wine connoisseurs want, and I'm going to put myself into the frame of mind of somebody who enjoys wine, and maybe you do too, and so it's a little easier for you to think through this. So the end result would be that if I want a particular kind of product, I'm going to go research products that show up under that search. And in that process, I'm going to look and say, okay, could I produce or create a product that's like that? In that process, I'm thinking about a brand that would serve people who are wine connoisseurs. I'm thinking about products that match their intent and the different kind of solutions of chilling a bottle or keeping a bottle safe or storing enough bottles in a dry area or putting a cork in it so it doesn't go flat or whatever, and making sure that I am producing a great product. So this whole engine is geared to show you those products just in time. And it then tracks you around the web and follows you all over the place when you start looking at them to try to get you to come back and buy them. So as you're looking at these keyword systems, it's broad, phrase, and match keywords. Those are just kind of keyword types that have to do with how this engine, which is called a latent semantic search engine, looks through the products and determines where your relevancy is. So there's this thing they developed. It's called the item type keyword, and it is in the filing system. So if I'm going to sell a wine rack, there's actually a node, okay, and node is just their technical term for where this item type keyword lives, ITK, and it could be called wine rack. Now, does that sound relevant to someone who's producing a product that's a wine rack who's also selling a brand of wine connoisseurs? Right, so now we're being hyper relevant. It's very important we're hyper relevant. Why? Because our conversion rates for somebody interested in wine, and specifically 12-bottle wine racks, is going to be much higher when I focus brand and intent and customer intent to a product or solution that matches up. That's called hyper relevancy. All of the results in Amazon are relevance based. When you go and do a search on the desktop, you'll see it defaults to what's called relevance. It does the same thing on your mobile device as well, which, by the way, you probably already knew this, but mobile phones have now overtaken desktop for purchasing. So 58% of all purchases are now done on mobiles, which means somebody's buying something all the time, and specifically on the Amazon app. My wife, 2 to 3, 4 times a week, stuff showing up at our house. Like all the We have homeschool kids and it's just crazy. And so stuff shows up all the time at our house, which is very convenient. The long story short, this big search engine is really searching through products and it's looking for product relevancy. And if you're tied into that relevancy, then it is going to give you more impressions, which means people are going to see your product more. Then you'll potentially get more clicks if you've done a great job presenting the product and use photos. And then obviously clicks give the opportunity for sales or conversions. And to get traffic organically, it's one of the first things we work on is putting a very hyper relevant listing and product that goes into the engine. Then the first 7 to 14 days proves that I can get organic traffic from the engine. If I can get organic traffic from the engine, impressions, clicks, even sales, during that first 7 to 14 day market test, then the engine is rewarding me and it's time to follow that reward. And there's a number of things we do after that to prime the engine so that it believes we're a better product, even with 0 reviews. And we can start making sales every day with that product in the right organic setup within this keyword system engine. Now, the caveat to change is it's going to become a little bit more AI driven with the Cosmo rollout. So we're watching to see how they're going to kind of change and tie keywords or non-keywords to semantic and latent semantic search engine relevance, which is now going to tie to your history of purchasing, the history of people like you, as well as what you watch. So if you probably know this, they bought Twitch recently. They got Freevee now showing ads. They've done Prime and ads. So they're building up this whole engine of marketing and media distribution to basically tie this AI to your search history. So I don't know if you like Reacher or somebody's listening to this or likes Amazon Prime or whatever. It means that if you have any intent to buy products that are relevant to somebody who is watching Reacher on Amazon Prime, you're going to see that product appear during the video sequence for intent. And they did a test on about 10% recently of Amazon searches, and it increased 0.7% CTR. Doesn't sound like a lot, does it? Right? But 0.7% CTR equates to around $4.9 billion in new revenue, just with that 10% market share. So things are about to radically change. We're going to stay on top of it. Every week we have our coaching masterminds to ensure we're on top of it because these changes are very impactful for existing brands and are going to be really cool to watch with new brands.
That makes a lot of sense. We had a request coming in for the website again for folks who want to learn more.
Yeah, voltagedm.com, voltagedigitalmarketing.com. Or you can just Google me. My last name really is Twa. It's not an acronym. And no, I'm not a small Asian guy. But if you Google Neil Twa, you'll find all my social media as well.
All right. We've spent a lot of time talking about how to make money selling products on Amazon.
Yep.
Why do you say that your people make more money when they stop selling on Amazon?
So what happens is in brand segmentation, and I say stop, it's kind of an objective word, but we always want to move beyond Amazon with channels. It's called omni-channel or multi-channel. So while we start on Amazon and we incubate a brand, usually up to 7 figures, before we move to additional channels, we will always move to additional channels. We want to create a trifecta, 3-prong approach to stabilizing this. One channel does not make a business really at the end of the day. 2 and 3 channels now make a serious business. So right now, either between Shopify or now TikTok shops, we're moving people into multiple channels. So when I say stop selling on Amazon, it means you're not forcing, you're not pushing, and you're not having to do a lot of learning and growth. You're now into more operational control. You're into daily, weekly, monthly controls. And then the way we do it, it's setting up with almost automated income with systems and AI and dashboard driven metrics. You're now freed up with your time, energy, attention, and money to open additional channels. So we're moving our brands into TikTok shops, which means you're now going to start selling in TikTok shop. Where we have more active automated income on what you stabilized on Amazon in a process of launching more products into the system. We now open up additional channels. Why TikTok? Because there's literally 25% spillover from our TikTok shops is ending up on Amazon and increasing our market share and profitability on Amazon. So TikTok shops is blowing up great. So we move our products and brands and listings. We get our affiliates inside of TikTok's ecosystem. It has now become a brand discovery platform, which is really cool. And the way they're doing social media as commerce, building that straight in from the affiliate, the video, and then clicking inside. Some of you may have done that already and purchasing products through TikTok, or you may hate TikTok, and that's fine too, right? You could hate a hammer, but it builds a beautiful house if you do it the right way. Just don't use it to crush yourself on the head with. But at the end of the day, yeah, when I say stop selling, what I really mean is there's a selling point to getting started, building, coaching, and growing the business into becoming a expert at it, if you will, a CEO operator. But then you should be expanding into additional channels. So in some ways, you're stopping selling on Amazon, you're moving. But the last part of that is actually a little bit of a play on words, because honestly, these businesses are worth more in the end than at any time during the business building phase. What that means is these businesses, when exited for multiples, can create life-changing events. They can even create generational wealth events. And Daniel Espy has been selling with us for a little over 4 years. He is now an 8-figure seller. He is setting somewhere between 10 to 15 an exitable take home when that business exits. So combined in the 4 years of profit that he has made, that is going to make him a heck of a lot of money when he sells that business, more than he made when he was running it. So when he stops selling, he's going to make a lot of money, but he's already producing additional brands and businesses right now that he's bringing up behind the scenes as he preps first business to sell. He is now moving second businesses and brands already online to move them into market even faster, and he'll be higher capitalized when the time comes.
That sounds fascinating. You talk about having a built-in, for lack of a better term, network in terms of helping your businesses that you help grow then exit. Talk a little bit about that, because that sounds pretty unique.
So we have a common person in mind, someone I met in 2016. He's kind of been a mentor of mine over the years and talked with him a lot, Kevin Harrington. And in that process, he helped me expand just my network, but my brain into areas of really understanding beyond myself, how business and networking is very, very impactful. And it's a common theme that I shared, and it's why it kind of resonated in who gets you there and what keeps you there. And during the process of building a portfolio brand in 2019, we raised about 50 million in 2 home offices. They were going to start acquiring businesses and brands through that mechanism. Due to just complications in the market and situations we saw with overpricing and overpaying for brands to steal market share, they overinflated the marketplace too much. Now some of them are capitulating, some of them are going bankrupt or creating Chapter 11 bankruptcy restructurings. And so we stopped that process and did not get involved in it. And as I mentioned earlier, we're now more involved in getting back to buying companies this year when there's blood in the streets, right? So now it's time to go buy. Now we had raised that investor group up and raised all that network and then didn't utilize it. Some of them were pissed. Others were like, hey, thanks so much for not getting us involved in that and overpaying. What can we do now? So that built up a really cool community and network of people I've been involved in who are investors and capital investors, private equity and otherwise. And it also led me to groups like the Wealth Without Wall Street, where we're strategic venture partners with them. They're out of Alabama. We co-host a group of meetups continuously virtually and then physically go to their events twice a year to be talking about e-commerce as a way with building wealth without Wall Street. And they have millionaires and decamillionaires and billionaires involved in that group. And they all have capital to invest. And guess where everybody wants to put it right now? They're not penciling in on real estate. They can't get the short-term rental stuff to go right now. Well, Wall Street isn't looking so sexy, and they're called Wealth Without Wall Street for a reason. So a lot of people want to buy businesses right now. So I've got a hungry list of people who are constantly asking me what to buy. Even this morning, one of our guys asked us, hey, let me know what deals you got up on deck right now to buy. And a lot of it has to do with not just their knowledge, but our knowledge in the space. They want us to kind of co-invest or co-work with them, where Voltage would be in an operating position to help support that business model with our operating team. We have an account management services team that runs companies between 5 and 30 million a year and supports their channels on Amazon and otherwise. And so they're asking, hey, could you help us if we buy this company? Could you help us operate it? So we look at those kinds of mechanisms for growth, and that has a large investment pool behind it who want to constantly keep buying. And as mentioned, we're going to produce about 5 companies for investment. The first one on deck is about a $7.3 million deal right now.
Or folks listening who say, wow, this sounds fascinating and sounds like an amazing opportunity. What are their next steps? Where do they go to learn more? Importantly, how does your process work when someone, I know you have strict requirements on who can get into this program. Talk a little bit about who is the ideal fit for you and then how that startup process works.
Yeah, like I said, at the end of the day, I would love to help everyone, but I can't. And nor do I really want to work with everybody anymore. So it sounds a little snobbish, but really at the end of the day, I don't have a marketing and sales team because that's not how my business works, because I do the business and we're pretty busy with it. But I will open slots around 5 to 7 per month for people who can interview and be a part of those spots. There's an application process. You'll speak with me personally. You fill out a DISC assessment, which will give me insights into your specific area of business and focus and aptitude. I'm really looking to sift down to those who have certain areas of profiling in that match up with my best builders and best intent for builders. So there is a process. If you go to voltagedm.com, you will get me personally when you text or book a call. We're going to go through that application process and we're going to vet. You're vetting us, of course, is how this works. But in return, make sure you understand I'm also vetting you. I have a limited amount of spots. We do it for 12 months. We do it for one-on-one for those 12 months to create CEO and operators, have a specific plan and a process. And I need to know that you would be an Adam or an Alex or an Eva or a Katie, and that you're going to follow the process. You may not understand it all yet. You may not have questions about it, but that's fine. Just know if you are going to be tenacious, you're going to have grit and perseverance. And even if it's your first venture, you're not going to give up until it's successful. Those are the kind of people that have been the most successful in what we do. Do all people have success in it? No, that would be a lie. That would be a whole marketing lie for me to tell you that. At the end, some people get caught up in life. They get caught up in business. They get caught up with family, and they can't always complete it. But one way or another, you will notice if you Google me, that came from that one movie. If you Google me, you will find it'll have negative reviews. The reason is because I choose who I'm working with. You can't dig up too much trash on me for a reason. I tell my girls this all the time. Integrity is important in business, and you can lose it all in 30 seconds. And I have no interest in doing that. So I want to make sure you're a good fit. I want to make sure if we get in the boat, we're going to row the same direction. I don't want you rowing a different direction and having us go in circles. And that goes for other members of my team. I'm not alone in this. I get to be very blessed to be among some very, very smart people people that we raised up in the business to work within Voltage and coach within Voltage. And there are operators and there are people that we build businesses with who are running them right now to those 6, 7, and 8 figures. And they are coaches and operators within our business now and work our process and playbook. So it's very important to understand this is a organic thing that we do. And that's hopefully that answers your question.
It does. It sounds like your claims are accurate and what you've built is working for all kinds of different people. We know your time is greatly valuable. We greatly appreciate you spending some of it with us. One more time, where is the place for them to go to if they want to investigate this further?
Yeah, voltagedm.com, VOLTAGEDM.com, voltagedigitalmedia.com.
All right. This has been Seth Green here with Neil Twa from voltagedm.com. Neil, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Seth. I appreciate it.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time.